All right. A lot of therapists and healers out there think that somatics is a specialty skill that they don't really need to learn. And I'm here to tell you it's not. So, somatics is basic first aid for the nervous system after trauma. And I really want to urge you to think about it that way because um, deferring and saying, like, oh, this isn't for me, I don't need to do this, is neglecting that basic first aid skill that could really change and heal your students and clients' lives after trauma. So, why am I saying this? So, a long time ago, I used to work in healthcare. I worked in a hospital, and every single year, I was required to complete a basic life saving skills class or BLS. This included learning how to do CPR, right? And like, why did I have to learn CPR? I didn't do direct patient care. I worked in public health. But because I was in a hospital setting, they needed to ensure that everyone was able to provide some level of basic life saving skills care in case somebody um, became unconscious and unresponsive, if their heart rate stopped, if they weren't able to breathe. Um, Everybody had to know how to step in. And we practiced CPR to save people's lives, knowing that maybe I wasn't going to use it today, maybe I wasn't going to use it tomorrow. But if I had to step in and support, I knew what to do. And I'm going to flash forward a little bit and share a little bit more because years later, when I started seeking therapy for my like unresolved trauma and PTSD, I was struggling every single day to just keep myself alive. And I was seeking therapy to find some relief, to find some help. And what I kind of found was that my therapist didn't have the skills to support me in this way. And that wasn't necessarily their fault. Hey, Nick. But at the same time, I really wish that my therapist had known some basics of somatics so that I could learn how to regulate my nervous system. And instead of spending months in this dysregulated state, I could come back to myself and move forward with my life. And it wasn't until I started to learn about somatics and start practicing it for myself that I felt the trajectory of my life kind of start to shift and change. Um, and this was really profound for me. So I started including somatics into my teaching work. And I started to see the impact that it was having on my students and on my clients because their life trajectory was starting to change in these subtle and like small, subtle and big ways. Hey, Tasha. Um, so I actually wanted to share even further about a workshop that I provided for um, teen survivors of sexual assault. And when I was doing this workshop, I was sharing these somatic techniques. And even though, hey, Captain Sharp, even though my students were young and, they're teenagers, but they went through something really terrible. And that's why they were there. They were there to heal. Um, One of them came up to me afterwards and said, I feel calm and powerful. And like I get chills every time I think about it because for somebody who has endured so much trauma at such a young age and just to be like after these simple techniques, they were able to feel powerful again, regulated, calm, centered. They looked different. Um, that's the impact of somatics. And that's why I'm sharing this with this kind of like maybe energy behind it because it's not just this specialty skill. It's life-saving, it's life-changing. Stay Hex, it's always good to see you. Hey. So, I'm here just to urge you really from my heart, urge you to prioritize somatics in your practice. And I strongly advise you to practice these skills before you need it, before your clients need it. Um, because it could save somebody's life. And just like practicing CPR, it's best to learn it before you really need it. So if this helped you, please feel free to share. I always love when people like leave comments or like give feedback. But if you wanted to learn more, I have actually two things for you today. First, I have a toolkit at yourgaydanceteacher.com. Feel free to pick up the toolkit and learn about these somatic techniques that I use for my students, I use for myself. Um, and that's one thing. Second thing, I'm teaching a class. So if you wanted to learn from me about what you can do for your clients and students after trauma, I'm teaching a post traumatic somatic skills class. Um, and you can sign up at bit.ly, bit/.ly/, somatic, uppercase somatic. And there's a post on it on my page. So feel free to join me for that training. I would love to see you there. Um, and thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, y'all.